If you keep your knives sharp, guess what you can do? Something like this and have it just look absolutely beautiful. Sharp knife makes your food look better, makes your food taste better. Stick around, we're gonna get right to it. This is my favorite thing to introduce to cooks who want to go from, yeah, I like to cook, to, yeah, I cook. You wanna make that a forceful statement in your life? Then you're gonna have to learn how to sharpen your knives. That means you're gonna need to learn how to use a whetstone. You're also gonna learn how to properly hone your knives. And there's a difference. Honing is what I do every 10, 12 minutes of chopping. I find the easiest way to teach somebody to sharpen a knife, really sharpen it using a stone, is to start with a nakiri. And the reason is it has a relatively straight blade as opposed to a really long knife like this that has an obvious curved blade. The curvature of the blade is sort of like advanced beginner to intermediate stuff. It's very easy to do once you've kind of mastered it with this. And so using a straight blade that's only 6.5, 7 inches is much better than something that's 10 plus inches long. Remember, each whetstone has a different numbered grit. The lower the number, the coarser the stone. Start with the lowest grit number. Brown is 400. That coarse whetstone will begin to put a new edge on your knife. Finish on the highest number grit, in this case 6,000, to finish and polish the edge. Why do we want to sharpen on a stone? If you think of a knife when it's perfectly sharp, like factory sharp, as being a point, over the course of the time that you're using the knife, little tiny burrs will dull out your knife so it doesn't glide through food as evenly. So what we do when we put it on a honing steel is we realign those little burrs, take some of them out, but we can't get it quite as good as passing it over a whetstone. Find something you like, maybe it's your favorite show, something you don't have to get distracted by, you can just listen to. Just really want to focus on that meditative practice and on the stone itself. All stones are very porous, so you have to soak them in water for an hour or so before you're going to use them. And when you're sharpening them, you'll see that we develop a slurry on the top of them. That slurry is little bits of stone and little bits of metal. And believe it or not, it's those little bits of stone and metal, that slurry, as you grind it down the stone, is actually what removes the burrs. Do remember then you want to rinse your knife and wipe it on a towel, because you don't want that stone and metal slurry to get into food. Make sure that you stabilize this by working on a wet towel. That way it won't move. You don't want to hold this at a 45-degree angle. When sharpening, it's critical to make sure the knife is at a 16-degree angle. So what I learned was kind of where on my thumb that angle is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here with 400, then go to 1,000, then to 3,000, and then finish at 6,000 on white. When I go at 16 degrees down the length of the stone, I don't apply a lot of pressure. I just let the weight of my fingers, when I'm going down away from me into the blade, as it were. When I pull back is when I have more pressure applied. The reason I still keep my fingers on there is that I want to make sure I'm holding it at the right angle and that I don't raise it up or down or it doesn't skip, because these stones are soft enough that if I bang it against the edge with the blade of the knife, I can actually chip this, and then you got to grind it away. You ready? No pressure, pressure, no pressure, pressure, no pressure, pressure. Now we've already done blue. We're on side number 3, which is going to be green. We just keep getting smoother and smoother and smoother as we go. See that gray that's in there? That is the stone and the little metal burrs. And the more we do that, we know the sharper we're getting. And then finally on this smoothest edge, which is 6,000. You can see that. That's a good sign. That means we're actually getting somewhere. Now, repeat the process on the other side of the knife. For those of you that just don't care about sharpening your own knives at all, and by the way, I endorse your opinion on that. For the lifetime of this knife, while it's in your possession, you just send it to Shun, and guess what? They will sharpen it and send it back to you. But you can also just do this at home. And isn't that fun? So now that you have these stunning sharp knives, let's make a great salad, shall we? A little bit of herb, egg yolk, some mustard, just a little bit of acid. I'm just making an emulsified vinaigrette here with my immersion wand. I had a neutral oil there, and now I'm adding a little olive oil for flavor. Every time I cut through something acidic and I make contact with my blade and my board, I dull out my knife. Every time I do an action like that, I dull out my knife. So what happens? I love honing my knife. Parsley and tarragon, cherry wine vinegar, and lemon juice. This beautiful, creamy, emulsified vinaigrette. Very, very French. Can you guess what kind of salad we're making? This is a new Shun cutting board. It's made out of Hinoki cypress. It doesn't dull your knives out as quickly as composites do. I always try to use wood, but not all wood is created equal. I love making salade niçoise. This is a once-a-week salad in my house. I find it the easiest salad to make when entertaining. So simple. Everyone loves it. Super easy. Do it like you're putting flowers in a vase. So it looks full and random, and it's in that sort of intentional randomness that there's great beauty. These are little niçoise olives, my favorite. Potatoes. Now the reason I'm going on a 45-degree angle with these is just knife safety. Small round objects, like potatoes, like tomatoes, and they roll around the board. So if I put my fingers on two of them and I go down at a 45-degree angle, I will never cut myself. There's pureed herbs in the salad dressing. There's minced herbs in the salad dressing, but we're also gonna have some fresh whole leaves of tarragon. Then I'm just gonna scatter some parsley leaves. Now these batons of tuna were cut in a very specific way at the Ortiz factory so they could pack them and have them fit in that jar. Look at that one, just came curved perfectly. These anchovies, and I do actually mean this brand of anchovies, is so much better than what you will find in a tin. Number one, they're packed in olive oil. Number two, they're not too salty. Number three, because they haven't been packed with too much salt, they're soft and pliant. Water, knife. We made really jammy boiled eggs. So if you cut quickly with a wet knife, this is what you'll get. Just wipe it off on a dish towel. Let everyone help themselves to salad, and then pass the dressing around. They can take as much or as little as they like. If you keep your knives sharp, guess what you can do? something like this and have it just look absolutely beautiful. You can even cut jammy eggs in half and not have the yolks go on your cutting board if you have a sharp paring knife. Sharp knife makes your food look better, makes your food taste better. Been doing this a long time. Sharp knives are everything. Remember, all of our recipes and our sub-recipes are at andrewzimmern.com. Salade niçoise, nice herbal lemon vinaigrette. Enjoy.